Hi everyone, my name is Cole and thank you so much for joining into this video, clicking on it, whether you're watching this on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or listening to it on a podcast. I appreciate you being here. But again, my name is Cole, and the purpose of this podcast or video is to ultimately just help you make money on social media. So that's what all these videos, whether you're watching them on whatever platform, are designed to do, help you market your business or anything else you're really trying to market. It's usually a business, using social media and ultimately helping you grow that and make money from digital marketing and those efforts. So thank you again for joining into the video. Today I want to talk about something that I've been experimenting with, and I've seen a lot of success with it to the point where I try to get the content that my clients and I are making for their brands, um, trying to do as many of these kinds of videos, the reels, spoiler, uh, as possible. But they're not just doing reels, which, is its own great thing to start doing. If you're not focusing on short form video content, you really should be. It is incredibly powerful, especially because of this kind of competition that's going on across the platforms, for who is going to be the best short form video app. And which I'll talk about in just a little bit, but specifically it's reaction content. And reactionary content has been around for a really long time. There's nothing new to it. There have been reaction videos on Facebook and YouTube forever. But I'm seeing tying these into reels and then targeting a specific thought leader or industry professional in the same industry that you're working in makes for a really, really strong strategy that I've seen a lot of success with, and my clients, when I can get them to do that, have seen a lot of success with as well. So I kind of want to jump into that, talk about why it works, a great way to do it, the tools that I use personally to do this, and basically, yeah, the results that I've seen from that. So let's jump into it. So first and foremost, let's talk about Reels for a little bit. And when I say Reels, it's because my platform of choice tends to be Instagram. So that is the platform that I'm always referring to. So Reels is, of course, an Instagram tool, their version of short form content, right? But of course, TikTok is all short form content, really. You can get videos up to 10 minutes long, but that platform's really designed to do short form content. So Reels or TikTok videos or Reels, which exist on Facebook now, which has been there for a little bit, not nearly as long as on Instagram. And I do think that there's a huge opportunity there. But that is another place we have Reels. And then Shorts are the YouTube version of short form content. So that just kind of goes to show you this huge potential for competition. So between these different platforms, right? So of course, YouTube and Facebook encompassing both Facebook and Instagram, of course, have been around forever. They're kind of defined in a lot of ways, but of course, they're always expanding and doing new things. And then when TikTok rolled around, funny enough, around 2018, 19, which is when I was working at TikTok, when TikTok started to really kind of take hold of this short form video content, that was kind of jumping off the path that Vine had already created, right? And the short form video content was a really, really effective way to not only design an algorithm around, but also as a viewer, just to see a lot of different brands. And those two things tie hand in hand. The reason why is because every bit of content is always a video, right? And videos are just in more engaging with us on a psychological level than a picture will be or than text posts will be anyway. So you have that going for it already, right? But then on top of that, because these videos are really, really short, you're able to see in the same, let's say, 30 minutes that you would spend on any social media platform, if you're just watching short form video content, you're able to see a lot of different kinds of content, which makes that sample size for the algorithm when they're deciding what kind of content you like and what interests you and what we should show you next. It gives them a really, really strong sample size. And that is why you'll notice that the TikTok algorithm specifically is very, very good. It's very effective at figuring out what you want very quickly and then showing you that content. Um, because this has been a huge success for TikTok, the Instagrams of the world and Facebook right after, as well as YouTube, have been trying to jump on this trend, right? And then use their big, sustaining, already present platforms, and then adding this form of content into what they already have. So this is something that's been really, really helpful for Facebook, and I know that specifically because when I was working at Facebook, we talked about how Reels were doing because it was a huge, huge plus to the viewership and the retention of people on the Instagram platform, and that's ultimately why they added it on Facebook Reels as well. But the content that that we see on Reels, of course, is the same kind of short form content that we see on TikTok, right, or YouTube Shorts. But they added this in to basically be competitive in this market, right? So because they're all being competitive with each other, right? YouTube wants to beat TikTok, and then Facebook also wants to beat TikTok on with Instagram as well. And of course, TikTok wants to be the king of the short form content and retain that market space. Because of this heavy competition, right? Everyone's vying for that market section, right? That ownership of the short form content. And so whenever you're creating content, because there's such a strong competition, you're going to get much more exposure, not only because shorter videos, more views in the same amount of time as longer videos, but also the fact that this short form content is going to be able to target your perfect demographic, the people who really want to see your content much better. And then lastly, because of course, Instagram wants to reward people for making great content on their platform on Reels, so they're going to promote it to more and more people. And the same thing goes for TikTok and YouTube, right? So ultimately, it's a huge thing to take advantage of, whether you're using one of these platforms or two of them or all of them. You're going to see a lot more bang for your buck when you're creating a short form piece of content. When it's a reel or a TikTok, than the same kind of content being posted as a normal video someplace else. So that's really big. Moving on to reactionary content. Reactionary content is huge for so many different reasons, right? Especially if you're a small brand when you don't really have much of a brand voice, right? And you're building your audience, reactionary content is an opportunity to take pre-existing content, right? And you can of course select what kind of thing you want to react to. So you can pick content that has performed really well, that has a lot of interest, and of course that you have something to say about, right? And you can take that content and then put it directly into your reel or TikTok or YouTube short, whatever, and then put your own spin on it, right? So if you're leading, of course, with the reactionary content because you need to react to it, so your viewer needs to see the video that you're reacting to first, that is a great hook for the viewer, right? Because if they haven't seen your content yet, they don't know what to think. They don't know if it's worth it, if they should just kind of scroll past. But if they see a video with Ed Sheeran and it's something that you're reacting to, then that immediately has a pull, more so of a pull than, let's say, I would normally have, right? And I bring up Ed Sheeran because that's specifically one of the reels that I've done recently, and I'll show you it in just a second. But when you pull in using this outside resource, in this case Ed Sheeran or some other celebrity or industry leader or whatever, it gives somebody a reason to stay because they're interested in this figure already. They already have vested interest in this person, right? And then when it switches over to you, you're still talking about that subject material that they just watched. So you're still kind of having, a pull to watch them, to get them to watch the entire video, right? And whenever we're talking about short form video content, even long form video content, the most important KPI that you want to focus on, the most important key performance indicator, is retention. If you have a minute long video and 90% of your audience watches that full minute video, whatever platform you're on, doesn't matter which algorithm, that platform will say, hey, people watch this video, this 1 minute long video, and almost always they stay for that full minute. So we want to show this video to a lot of people, as many people as we think would be interested in it, because it's almost a guarantee that people will stay on that platform longer. So retention ends up being huge, and this reactionary content is a great way to get somebody at least 50% of the way and then transitioning over to your reaction to that actual video. As long as you have something of purpose to say and you're providing some kind of value, which is always the most important step, then you're going to be able to keep that person's attention through the entirety of the video, or at least very far through the video, and get a much better reaction, or I should say, a much better retention rate for your video than, let's say, like a normal video that you put up. So that's the benefit of reactionary content. And we already talked about the benefit of reels as well. So when we combine these two, you have this huge algorithm benefit of short form video content, this competition in the market between all the different platforms that are rewarding you as a creator for making videos on their platform, in the shape of more views, right? The distribution just being better with short form content because more people can see videos in that short amount of time than long form content. And then on top of that, you have the reactionary, the hook factor, right? The important thing, or the industry leader, or whoever you may be making a reaction video to, reeling somebody into the video, the transition into you talking about that and furthering the conversation, which is a decent hook point to keep people interested if they've already watched halfway through that video. And then, of course, the third or fifth or whatever benefit of doing this kind of content is that you're also taking advantage of content that's already existing. So you can create a reaction video based off something they said far easier than the thought process going into making a whole video designed, with a basic script in mind or a basic premise. If you're watching something, you can scroll through, find a bunch of different videos, and quickly have something to say about it because it's your opinion, right? Or it's your ideas on that based off of your knowledge of that industry. So a great example of that is finding a marketer, a really big marketer, right? So let's say Gary Vee, right? And you're doing a reaction video to them because your target demographic are people who need digital marketing, right? So you know that they're probably interested in Gary Vee. They probably know who that person is. And if you take a video where Gary's talking about something of particular value and you're adding extra value to that, that's a pretty good sign that your reel is going to do quite well, especially with your target demographic who should be your potential customers. So that's the perfect scenario, right? You're getting the views, you're getting the quality views, who are people who you actually want to get in front of, not just random views from wherever. And they're the people who are going to be connected with you. You're going to kind of gain some value in their eyes, and it makes it much easier to sell them a product or service because you've established all of that groundwork, right? So this is something that I find to be incredibly helpful. I have a client who does wine sales as well as wine events, and so we've done reactionary content to brands who have done big wine brands, as well as videos from not so big wine brands who are just creating a reel or a TikTok that is done very, very well. So both of those have worked pretty darn well. And the important thing you want to do here too, of course, is tag them in that video. You want to tag them in the video. You want to invite them as a collaborator, something you can do with Instagram Reels. And you also want to share it to your story and tag them in the story. That last one is the one that is probably 50% of the time, especially if you're making reactionary content and praising, adding to, but also praising what the source content is saying. If you put that up as your story and you tag them, the chances that they're going to share that to their story are really high, right? With we're talking about Instagram stories, the more the better. So there's no reason for them not to. It's not like it's populating up their feed, and that will be gone in 24 hours anyway. So you're giving them a piece of content to share, which already makes them look good. It's almost like a free review for their brand or their business. And it's something that they don't have to really commit to because it's going to be gone in 24 hours anyway. So, in an ideal situation, and this has happened multiple times with us, that person will share that video that you made, that reactionary video that you made, to their story, or even accept the collaborator thing and it becomes an actual reel under their profile as well as yours. That's the perfect scenario, but far less likely to happen. Even if they just share that story, that's getting huge exposure. Now you're exposing yourself to their audience, right? Which, if you've picked your source material well, if you've picked your video to react to well, is the perfect demographic for the kind of audience that you're trying to build. So ultimately, if that even happens, which is just a plus anyway, right? We already have all the great benefit of the reactionary content, the fact that it's real, all of that good stuff. On top of that, you could get exposure to this other random, or not random, but this other industry leaders audience and their following, and that's going to be really, really beneficial as well. That's something that really works particularly on Instagram. Not so much if you're doing this, sharing that same video onto TikTok and YouTube as well. However, it's still very much worth doing. Even if you can only do this on one platform, it's a great platform to do it on. So that's something that has been widely successful. I will link down to the Ed Sheeran reel that I've done here, that I've used as an example in this video, because I think it's a really great thing to look at and just kind of take note of how I go through it and the editing that goes into it. Another factor that I've found to be really, really helpful too is putting in a title at the very top. You see a lot of creators do this. This is great because if you're taking a wide format video and kind of narrowing it in closer to make it that the dimensions for a reel, that kind of vertical dimension layout, first of all, the video gets a little blurry, right? So by having a bar at the top, you don't have to zoom in the video quite as much, and so that makes the resolution better. So that's great. But also having a title at the top of the video gives somebody a reason to stay latched on, right? If the title's good and interesting to them. But sometimes when we're watching a bunch of different videos, we kind of, get lost in it and forget why we're watching it or why is this valuable to me. A title at the very top is a constant reminder that they're going to, that the video is going to be addressing this point, or that is the purpose of the video, and that's how the viewer is going to get some kind of value. So you can experiment with whatever that title may be, but just a really simple title right at the top of the video, you'll see that in my Ed Sheeran example, is something that is going to be really, really beneficial. So ultimately, guys, I hope that this was really helpful. Again, check out the link that I'll put in the description. If you're listening to this as a podcast, and unfortunately, I won't have a way to link that for you, but go ahead and check out Jarvis Media Consolidated, Jarvis Media Social should be the handle for all of the social media accounts, and you'll be able to see that example as well. But walking through this, I think this is a really successful strategy, at least in the short term. Who knows how long it will last? You always want to make sure to credit the person both in the video itself, give them praise, and give them a shout out in the copy when you're tagging them. It's a great opportunity to tag them, but also it's another opportunity to give them praise, which makes it more likely they'll share your content. So, one, you're giving them credit, which you should, but two, you're also giving them a chance to want to share your content. So that's awesome. But take this, try this out. Experiment with it. Ask me if you have any questions. Feel free to leave them in the comments or email me at info@jarvismedia.biz. That's a great way to kind of get in contact with me and let me know if there's another video content you want me to talk about, or if you want me to expand on this. Maybe I can kind of walk through creating one. But I use this all through Adobe Premiere. Pretty easy to use, kind of a complex platform, but doing this is not that difficult. So if you found this interesting, let me know, and I will maybe do a tutorial video of exactly how I do that. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope this helped. Have a great day.